Tear gas in Paris, an all too familiar sight. France's May Day demonstrations are, traditionally, a show of force by the country's mighty trade unions. A message for the government that power lies not with politicians, but with people. This year, labour unions were joined by members of the Gilets jaunes, or Yellow Vest movement, that kicked off a wave of anti-government protests 3 years ago. The French President Emmanuel Macron remains under mounting pressure to abandon economic and social reforms as the country reels from 3 crippling coronavirus lockdowns. For some, this was about more than workers' rights. It was a show of rage.
May Day is a historic gathering, but it has a global context. We keep on having protests, and then we feel like protests happen for nothing. No one's listening to us. But I think it's important to keep coming back.
In the British capital, hundreds gathered in Trafalgar Square under the banner "Kill the Bill" against a proposed law that would give police extra powers to curb protests. It's feared the changes will have a chilling effect on the right to demonstrate. Among the crowds, Black Lives Matter supporters and climate change campaigners Extinction Rebellion, who paralysed parts of London in 2019. Under the proposed laws, people could face 10 years in prison for defacing monuments and large fines for breaching noise limits.
Inevitably, I think this is state repression. Yeah, this is the government saying that we don't want you to come out and voice your concerns against the system.
What these demonstrators are keen to remind the British government is that protests, by their very nature, are disruptive, and that any new laws designed to curtail people's right of assembly damage the country's democracy. In the German capital, Berlin, a peaceful march by protesters on the eve of May Day demanding affordable homes after the Constitutional Court overturned a law that set a rent cap on apartments in the city. 85% of Berliners rent rather than own their own home. 3 countries, 3 different struggles, but a common thread. These are the faces of Europe's young. Students, those struggling to find work, others looking for security in a fragile labour market.
Workers and students, unite and fight!
As Europe starts to emerge from lockdown, a reminder that many old frustrations haven't gone away, and in some cases, they've deepened. Neve Barker, Al Jazeera, London.